over the weekend, 3 different Vols dating back to last Thursday have declared for the NFL draft. One of them I didn't even think had any eligibility left, so that's what threw me off. That one was obviously Dante Thornton. Dante Thornton was a freshman in 2021. He's played fully all 4 years, so I was actually kind of shocked that he had to announce he was declared for the NFL draft, but he did. After Dante Thornton, Dylan, the big one, the big story, the best player of the year in the SEC, the one who couldn't really play in the college football playoff game because of injury, Dylan Sampson, he announced that he was leaving for the NFL draft. Again, understandable. Running backs, you got to go get your money when you can get your money. And then John Campbell Jr. announced that he was going to enter the NFL draft. Again, not really a shock. John Campbell Jr. has been in college since 2018. So 8, 9, 0, 1, 2. Like, he's already been in college for 7 years. So I don't know how in the world he would have even had any eligibility if you already got a medical redshirt to begin with, plus the COVID year, plus an actual redshirt. So it's like John Campbell Jr., I don't think he had any left. So the big story was Dylan Sampson leaving. And obviously, as we can predict, James Pierce Jr. is probably going to be gone too. He hasn't officially announced as we are doing this show at 10:20 a.m. on December 30th, Monday morning. But I think we can all pretty much guess that James Pierce Jr. is going to go to the NFL. He just hasn't officially announced yet. So what does this all mean for Tennessee? Who are their biggest losses on this? Well, John Campbell Jr. unsurprisingly leaving for the NFL, which again is totally unsurprising, does open up Tennessee with a lot of work to do at offensive tackle because Javonte Spraggins is gone, Cooper Mays is gone, and John Campbell Jr. is gone. And, Andre Carrick, I believe, is fighting to be able to return for another year with the medical redshirt. I think he's probably going to get that, but we don't know yet. But basically, Tennessee has a lot of work to do. Their biggest focus is on the right guard position, which is what Wendell Moe should be able to replace if Andre Carrick is able to return, and center with William Satterwhite, but they got to go find a tackle. They have to go find a tackle, and David Sanders Jr. is a 5-star. Maybe they could plug him in. Maybe he's a plug-and-play 5-star. He is the Vols' biggest recruit, biggest signee since Eric Berry. So he could be a plug-and-play 5-star. At the same time, that puts them thin on the offensive line again, with Lance Hurd coming back too. And they probably need to go the transfer portal route to find a little bit more help to have a decent rotation. They're not as much in a panic on the offensive line, though, if David Sanders can work out. They have bodies. They have quality bodies. Again, with Wendell Moe coming, if Andre Carrick can get that extra year of eligibility, all of a sudden you see Wendell Moe, a proven starter, Andre Carrick, a proven starter now, Lance Hurd, a developing but getting better starter who was much better towards the end of the year, David Sanders, a 5-star, even though he's a true freshman, he seems like one of those rare talents that you can just plug in. And then William Satterwhite would be the biggest question at center, replacing Cooper Mays, who is one of the best offensive linemen Tennessee football has ever had. So that addresses the question on the offensive line. Dante Thornton gone. We just addressed the issues at receiver. So Dante Thornton gone. That's kind of one that we could tell you up front that Tennessee's got a lot of work to do at receiver. On the other side, I would say that James Pierce leaving, Tennessee doesn't have a lot of work to do on the edges. Jordan Ross is going to be a superstar himself, and Joshua Joseph is returning. So Tennessee has plenty of talent on the edge. The interior becomes a question. Tennessee's going to have to do a lot of work on the interior to shore up their defensive line because they're losing Amari Thomas, Bryson Eason, Jackson Moy, Elijah Simmons. All these guys are gone, by the way. So with that in mind, Tennessee is going to have to shore up the interior. Running back. Dylan Sampson. I stand corrected. I have been eating crow all year, and I will eat crow again. I said at the beginning of last year that I thought midway through the season, Peyton Lewis would surpass Dylan Sampson as the starting running back because I didn't believe in Dylan Sampson as a pass blocker, and I thought Peyton Lewis was a rare talent. Well, both are wrong. Peyton Lewis, when he got his shot, which was at the end of the year, particularly against Ohio State, wasn't the special running back that Dylan Sampson is. It was proven not to be. I think partially this is because Joey Halzle abandoned the run game, but he still wasn't that special of a running back. And Dylan Sampson was one of the most special running backs in Tennessee history. I'm not going to say most talented, but certainly had the greatest season in Tennessee history as a running back if you just go based on productivity. What does Tennessee do at running back with Dylan Sampson predictably entering the NFL draft? Now, I thought NIL money could outweigh, Tennessee could throw enough NIL money at Sampson to have him return, and that could outweigh the NFL money because running backs can go a little bit later and don't get the money they want. But at the same time, running backs can get their money, and if you go early, you can hold out early and get your big contract. So I get why Dylan Sampson did what he did. Game to Window calls me out, said I said Dylan was lazy. I did. I was wrong. I owe him an apology. I was dead wrong. I thought his pass blocking issues were a major issue. But you know what? I was wrong, and I'll take the L on that. So where does Tennessee go at running back? Because as we know, Khalifa Keith has entered the portal, and Cam Seldon has entered the portal. So at this point, Peyton Lewis is the only, and Deshaun Bishop are the only scholarship backs. All right, guys, I'm going to say this up front. Deshaun Bishop, I think, got more carries this year. Peyton Lewis is the better back. Peyton Lewis is the better running back. Tennessee is going to have to get him to turn into a very special back if they're going to keep this offense going. I think he can. He showed some promise, and he showed a lot of physical toughness. If he can improve his vision, I think Peyton Lewis, and it was not like Cam Seldon who had the worst vision in the world. I think Peyton Lewis can be elite next year with another offseason. Remember, guys, he was hurt at the start of the year. That delayed all of his development. When you're hurt for the first month of a season, it delays your development the entire year. So I do think Peyton Lewis can get it going. If he doesn't, Tennessee has, to their credit, recruited decently at running back to this point. They have coming in the class of 2025, they flipped USC running back Dwayne Morris out of Murfreesboro. He's an all-purpose back who they love, and USC really wanted him. That was a really big pickup. And they also got Georgia running back Justin Baker. So they have options at running back this year. So I think if Dylan Sampson ends up if Peyton Lewis ends up not working out, I think they will have options. I'm still thinking next year Peyton Lewis is going to be their feature back. They're going to be giving him the ball a lot. And I think when that happens, I think that it will be what allows the offense to go. I'm not expecting him to have the year Dylan Sampson had this past year. I am expecting Nico to have a much better year, so that could offset it. But, we'll have to see how that plays out. A lot of what happened this year is not Nico's fault. But I do think that Peyton Lewis, the pressure's on him now. I think that Joey Halsley and Josh Heupel have to make Peyton Lewis become a feature player, have to make him become the heart of this offense. They really did a good job of that this past year with Dylan Sampson. But with Dylan Sampson gone, Peyton Lewis needs to step up. That is one of their biggest issues right now is they have to find a running. They can't just have a serviceable running game. Not in this system anymore. I'm not saying I've ruled out this system altogether, although Jeff Levy's struggling, Lincoln Riley's struggling. There's a lot of reasons to question it. What I am ruling out is that this system can work without a running back that's the heart and soul of it. Because you're seeing this in the NFL now too. Teams have gone so nickel heavy on defense to stop passing games that running games are getting more and more dominant. That's why I still, guys, believe it or not, have the Ravens as my pick to win the Super Bowl because the Ravens have a dominant rushing offense, and I don't think anybody in the playoffs is equipped to stop it with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. It's why I question whether Lamar Jackson has the best stats in the NFL. I'm not so sure he deserves another MVP because I think Derrick Henry's doing a lot to turn those stats into the best stats in the NFL. So with that in mind, I think Tennessee's the same way in college. I think a lot of teams play that bare 3-3-5 coverage. They soften it up. They're already built with the extra nickels. So this isn't just a Dylan Sampson thing. Going forward, Tennessee's going to have to be even more run-oriented than Josh Heupel ever wanted to be and that Nico Iamaleava expected to be when he took over at Tennessee. And that means that Peyton Lewis has to step up and be the physical back that people need him to be. Because if Peyton Lewis can't do that, then Tennessee needs to hope one of their freshmen does, Dwayne Morris, Justin Baker, or they got to find somebody in the portal. Deshaun Bishop is a change of pace running back, guys. I'm sorry he can't be a feature back. I love how hard he works. I love how hard he plays. He's just, in many ways, not physical enough to do what's needed to be done. So it comes to Peyton Lewis, but yes, Dylan Sampson entering the draft. A blow to Tennessee, but an expected one. So they should be prepared for that if the coaching staff does what it's supposed to do. Portions of the program. Well, before we get going on that, I actually want to add a little bit more on this issue. But first, portions of the program brought to you by Medicare Misty.
I've been in business actually 19 years this year. I've been in the community since 1993. You're getting a lot of information. Unlike when you were working, they made the choice for you. Now you have to make the choice. Come to us and let us help you make it easy. Call Medicare Misty, MedicareMisty.com or 423-777-5577. Let us help them sleep at night.
And we call her Medicare Misty.
All right, welcome back. So what do you guys think is more likely? Peyton Lewis emerges, they get a player from the transfer portal who's a star running back, or one of the freshmen emerges? My money is on, with Dylan Sampson entering the NFL draft, my money is on Peyton Lewis emerging as a star running back for Tennessee. I think Tennessee will be able to get a lot more out of Peyton Lewis. And just pulling up the stats real quick this year, Peyton Lewis this year, again, he missed the first part of the season, which is why you saw Deshaun Bishop get more carries. But Peyton Lewis finished the season with 64 carries for 339 yards. That's nearly 5.5 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. He had 4 catches for 14 yards. So Peyton Lewis is probably the guy they're going to go with. He, in case you're wondering with his size, stands at 6'1", 210 pounds. Deshaun Bishop, for context, had 74 carries for 455 yards, over 6 yards a carry. But remember, Deshaun Bishop got more carries at the beginning of the year when Tennessee was playing those awful teams in Kent State and Chattanooga and NC State. So you can't really use the same stat line for them. Peyton Lewis, it seemed like, was taking more reps and carries during SEC play. So with that in mind, I do think Peyton Lewis can become a superstar for Tennessee next year. Answering a couple of questions real quick. But Steven asked, do I think Tennessee needs a more aggressive offensive scheme? I think they need to stay more patient, Steven, and play a little more physical. Again, I'm not being old. I'm not trying to be old school. Everybody talks war daddies, SEC play, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, all of that. But college football is going back to that because defenses are playing so soft now. So I would say that Tennessee needs to stick with fine-tuning their run game. And that is where, again, that's where Peyton Lewis comes into play. You are starting to enter an era where running backs, once again, can be rare stars. I just told you guys, if my pick in the NFL is true, I would make the case that Derrick Henry could end up being the most significant offseason running back signing in NFL history. Yeah, no, I said that. The most significant offseason running back signing in NFL history. If the Ravens are to do what I think they're going to go do and go win the Super Bowl. If he's not the most significant offseason signing in NFL history, well, then, Saquon Barkley would be the most significant offseason running back signing in NFL history. And he is a 2,000-yard rusher now with the Eagles. So the truth be told, you are seeing a total resurgence of running backs, guys, a total renaissance of running backs. And you're seeing it in the NFL, and it's coming down to college right now. And with that in mind, I firmly believe that Tennessee is going to spend the entire offseason turning Peyton Lewis into a star. Because if you can do it with Dylan Sampson, I do think actually Peyton Lewis has more raw talent than Dylan Sampson. Not as fast, but he's good in so many other ways. So watch out for that. Watch out for Peyton Lewis. Game No Bueno says, LOL the Titans. Yes, I'm still mad we let Derrick Henry walk. But I will say that I gave the Titans credit yesterday. That was a masterful tank. Thank God for the tank.